Hola estudiantes, ¿cómo están? Espero que todo está bien. Hi students, how is everybody doing? I hope everybody is doing great. Vamos a comenzar. Let's begin. Buenos días, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? Muy bien, gracias, muy bien, gracias. ¿Y cómo te vas? ¿Cómo te vas? A ver, now let's begin by reviewing what we were looking at in our last few classes, and then we'll get back to what we're going to be doing today. So, we were looking at mi escuela, and mi escuela means my school, but we have been focusing on more specifically la clase, in la clase, in the classroom, and we have been looking at different things we can find in our classroom. Some of these things are un sacapuntas, which is a pencil sharpener. There is un lápiz, a pencil. Yes, un lápiz is a pencil. Un bolígrafo, a pen. Un bolígrafo, a pen. There is also un marcador. This is a marker. Un marcador, a marker. Un libro. I'm sorry, this is actually un cuaderno, a notebook. Un cuaderno, the notebook, but your textbook, this is going to be, un libro. So un libro, a textbook. There's also una regla, a ruler, una regla, a ruler, una silla, a chair, una mesa, a table, un diccionario, a dictionary, y una pizarra, a chalkboard, and una tiza, a chalk. So let's go through them una vez más, one more time. Una tiza, chalk. Una pizarra, chalkboard. Un libro, a textbook. Una silla, a chair. Una mesa, a table. Un diccionario, a dictionary. Una regla, a ruler. Un marcador, a marker. Un lápiz, a pencil. Un bolígrafo, a pen. Un sacapuntas, a pencil. And there's also un cuaderno, which is a notebook. Now, what we were looking at in our very last class is how to pluralize some items in Spanish, how to say that there are more than one of them. So, we're going to go through that in just a moment, but before, I'd like you to go ahead and watch the video that is provided for you. The other YouTube video is provided for you. You're going to watch that just to remind yourselves what the different classroom objects are, and then we'll get back to learning, practicing some more about the different items found in our clase. En mi mochila roja, yo tengo un lápiz. In my red bag, I have a pencil. All right, great. So in our last class, we were asking cuántos dash I, or cuántas dash I. How many of a certain thing do you see? How many are there? How many pencils are there? How many pens are there? How many rulers are there? How many markers are there? Etc. But before we were able to answer that question, we had to know how to identify different nouns in Spanish. Now remember, we said that we have singular nouns in Spanish, we have plural nouns, we have masculine nouns and feminine nouns. Now Raúl, hola! Hola Raúl. Raúl está aquí. Raúl is here to remind us how to identify masculine nouns, feminine nouns, and also how to pluralize them when we're talking about more than one of each of these nouns. ¿Está listo? Sí, estoy listo. Okay, estudiantes. Nouns in Spanish can be singular, plural, and they can be masculine or feminine while being singular or plural. If a noun is feminine, it usually ends with the letter A. But if the noun is masculine, it usually ends with the letter O. But sometimes some other letters. But most times, a masculine noun ends with O. Now, that's when the nouns are singular. But if the noun is plural and it ends with, well, if I want to pluralize a noun to say it's more than one, if the noun ends with a vowel, then I just need to add the letter S to make it plural. So, libro becomes libros. Bolígrafo becomes bolígrafos. Regla becomes reglas. Diccionario becomes diccionarios. And cuaderno becomes cuadernos. So all I did was to add the letter S to the end of the nouns that end with vowels to tell me that there is more than one of it, to say that it is plural. And you should also remember this song. Each Spanish vowel has one sound, and this is how they go. A, E, I, O, U. A, E, I, O, U. A, E, I, O, U. And this is how they go. Right. So once the noun ends with a vowel, that means in order for me to pluralize it, if I want to say there's more than one of that object, all I'm going to do is to add the letter S to the end of the word. Right, Raul? Sí, señorita. Now, what about, there was this one word that we weren't sure about. It was lápiz. Now, are we going to just add an S to lápiz? No, señorita. For lápiz, this one is a bit different. We're going to change the Z and the I, and we're going to remove them, but we're going to add CES and say lápices. LAPICES. Lápices. Excelente. So for lápiz, that one is a bit different. We're going to change the I and the Z. We're going to take them off. And instead of saying lápiz and put an S on it, we're going to say lápices. LAPICES. But there was another one that already ended in S. What's going on with that one? That sacapuntas is an exception. It already has an S, so we don't need to add an S again. So even though it ends with S, it can be singular or plural, but it is a masculine noun. But don't get mixed up. Okay, students? Excelente. So for sacapuntas, even though it ends with S, that's how it is written in a singular form and plural form, all right? But just remember, it's un sacapuntas, so it's a masculine noun, all right? Great. So if we ask, for example, ¿cuántas lápices hay? We're asking how many pencils are there? Now, if there are 3 pencils, we would say hay 3 lápices. There are 3 pencils. If I ask, ¿cuántas reglas hay? I want to know how many rulers are there. So I would say, for example, if there are 2 rulers, hay 2 reglas. Now on your activity sheet, the last activity you were given, you were supposed to write the Spanish number name for the amount of items that you see. So you got, for the first one, it was cuántas dash I. You were supposed to answer. For example, for the first one, you got I dash tizas. There are dash tizas. So if you can count on your paper with me, we're going to count how many pieces of chalk were there, and we're going to ensure that our answers are correct. So let's count. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 tizas. So your answer should be I 8 tizas. And if you don't remember what the numbers are in Spanish, remember your song. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 9, 10, 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 9, 10. Bueno, Good. Now let's move on to número dos, number 2. And it says, I dash mochilas. There are dash bags. And remember, in your textbooks, you might see bolso or bolsa. Same backpack, okay? Now, how many backpacks are there? Let's count them. Uno, dos, tres. So we should see hay tres mochilas. Muy bien. Now the next one, we have some marcadores. Now it says hay dash marcadores. There are dash markers. Vamos a contarlos. Vamos a contarlos. So let's go. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis. Hay seis marcadores. Let's move on to los diccionarios. Number 4, número 4. Hay dash diccionarios. Our answer should be uno, dos, because there are 2 dictionaries. So we should read hay dos diccionarios. Now, for the last one, la última, there are some chalkboards as we can see, and the sentence says hay dash pizarras. Now, counting them, we should have uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco. So our sentence should say hay cinco pizarras. Muy bien. So remember when we ask ¿qué es esto? It's simply asking what is this? ¿Qué es esto? What is this? And we answer by saying es un marcador, es una pizarra, or we can say es una regla. If I ask ¿qué tienes? I want to know what do you have? If I have a pencil, I would say yo tengo un lápiz. If I have a dictionary, yo tengo un diccionario. If I have a sharpener, yo tengo un sacapuntas. And then we ask also cuántos hay or cuántas hay. How many of a certain thing are there? How many textbooks are there? If there are 5 textbooks, hay 5 libros. If there are 10 notebooks, hay 10 cuadernos. And if there are 4 chairs, hay 4 sillas. Bueno? Good. Now, what you'll do for me is some activities that I have created for you. Some of the activities are from your textbook. Now, I'm not sure what page the next activity on classroom objects are in your textbook, but you're going to complete them for me. You have some matching activities to do. So you're going to complete those and also the activity sheet that you'll be sent. Now, for this activity sheet, you will be given the pictures for some items found in the classroom on one side of the paper, and on the other side of the paper you will have the letters for the Spanish names for all of these items, but the letters are going to be jumbled. So for number 1, if you have your activity sheet, please look at it right now. For number 1, you should be seeing the instruction says when you are you're going to be, one moment, for this part you're going to unscramble the letters to write the Spanish name for some items found in your classroom, and when you are through, you're going to draw a line to match each picture to its correct name. So you unscramble the letters first to form the Spanish name for the items, and then now when you have found out what those items are, you draw a line from the Spanish word to the picture that it matches. So let's do number 1. Number 1 has the word, well, the letters L-A-R-E-G. Now, which item in the classroom could that be? Well, what you can do first is go over to the pictures and see if you can figure out what those items are called in Spanish first. So you have your chalk, try to remember what your chalk is in Spanish, your ruler, your marker, your writing book, your textbook. Once you remember what those words are in Spanish, then it should be easier for you to figure out what these words are that are jumbled together. So, first one is L-A-R-E-G. Which word could that be? Now, I think it is supposed to spell this word. Let me write it on this here. I think it is supposed to spell R-E-G-L-A. R-E-G-L-A. Now, can anybody remember what that word means in Spanish? Regla. Regla is ruler. So what you'll do is after you've unscrambled the word, you have to find the item, the picture that's there, and then you're going to draw a line from the word to match it with the picture that it represents. All right. Excellent. And then from your workbooks, like I said, I'm not sure what page the activity is on, but you can ask mommy and daddy just to go to the content page for you, and there are some activities in there about items in the classroom. You can go ahead and complete the other activities. And if any of those activities have, for example, el estudiante is the student, la profesora is the teacher, and the vocabulary is also in your textbooks as well. I'm just not sure what page it's on. So you can go ahead and do those, but for now we're going to sing adios, 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 adios. Adios, 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 adios. Adios, students.